Hi, welcome to Sweet on the Spectrum, where I do all of these things while I'm still sweet on an autism spectrum. Today is a day where I finally make my second video. I apologize for procrastinating. It's been a difficult quarantine, and it's been very anxiety-inducing to have made another video within the last 6 months, as I didn't know what kind of content that I could create. But now that it's almost the election season, I definitely have quite an emotional rant to give to people in America and internationally. Um, America has had a very difficult election this year, as we are deciding as to whether or not we want to keep Trump as a president or if we want to keep Joe Biden or anybody else as a leader. And from my perspective, I don't really like Trump so much anymore. And it's not just because of his socially inappropriate behaviors. It's a number of things, especially when it comes to his pick of Justice Barrett. Um, and the reason why I don't like Justice Barrett is a very complex one. As you already know, I do have autism, and it can be hard for me to deal with politics in general, but specifically, I am a young mom who has dealt with postpartum depression, unplanned pregnancy, being low income, and a lot of the inconveniences and harrowing effects of poverty to an extent in my younger years. And what I believe personally about Republicans, especially evangelical ones that are in favor of Justice Barrett, is the fact that they don't know what it's like to have been a person that was in need of democratic policies that protect women that are vulnerable. And it just breaks my heart that we live in a country where an unborn life matters more than that of a live child or a live adult. I have been feeling ignored so much by my own Christian community when it comes to why I became pro choice. And when discussing pro choice argument, I really don't want to be seen as a murderer because I don't believe in the murder of children that are live and viable. I believe in a woman's right to choose whether or not she wants to be a birth mom, because I don't think it's fair that I was guilt tricked into just pursuing a child with the hope that I would love him. Because guilt and shame a parent does not make under such a culture. And I just wish that people wouldn't shame me for talking about abortion when women have been through a lot of traumatic situations. One of the reasons why I thought about abortion for a while was because I was tocophobic, I was broke, I didn't want to have a child yet, and I wanted to wait until I was financially stable and much older with a career. I still was a very young little lady, not more than 20 years old, that wanted to live her life with her new man, her new husband. And with the circumstances that be, regardless as to how much I planned or the lack thereof, it still happened anyway. And to be honest, I love my son so much. I've loved my son from the moment he was born, and I was trying to be more accepting of my status as a young mom, but it was nothing short of brutal in my country. Because we, as Americans, believe in the principles, or at least Republicans. We believe in the principles, you are on your own. You are on your own. We will not help you. We believe in personal responsibility. And I understand that Republicans don't like lazy excuses. But I have a lazy excuse. I have an even better excuse. I was somebody who was a vulnerable adult. It just felt so unfair that their status quo does not help me. That it threw me under the bus time and time and time again to the point where my heart broke. And I couldn't talk about being postpartum depressed for 3 years nearly. because I wanted people to know that I loved my son, but I hated what I became. I hated what I became. And people like Justice Barrett don't understand that. They don't understand this deep, deep sorrow. The heart only knows its own sorrow according to the Bible. And people don't get it. And it hurts. I can only hope that people understand my story and my rant on YouTube. Because this is a serious issue. There's a reason why family planning is personal. Because stories like mine hit home. And I'll be very sad if Justice Barrett rules under jurisdictions federally that continue to ruin and cripple the lives of young women emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Republicans, I can only hope that you don't abort these women and kids after the pregnancy is over. I can only hope and pray that you don't. But I don't trust you. My heart was broken because of you. And a lot of people don't get that. I'm still trying to talk to my mom and dad about how it was so hard for me to come out as somebody who had maternal mental illness due to pro-life policies. I'm sorry, guys. I really don't mean to be a burden. But this is one of the reasons why politics are a rock and a hard place for me as a more liberal Christian. I want to honor God, but I also want to honor those who have suffered. But now that I've got it off my chest, I feel pretty comfortable when picking a leader now, more so. I will try my best to do what I can, and I hope God can forgive me if I ever make another mistake. Please make sure to keep me in your thoughts and prayers. This has been such a rock and a hard place. And thank you for listening. You watched Sweet on the Spectrum, where I do and say all these things while I'm still sweet on the spectrum. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay sweet on that spectrum. We'll see you next time, hopefully.